bioinformatics. So it's that kind of predictive algorithms or whatever. How do I parse out the data and come up with predictive algorithms? Or how do I take only the important data and send it to the doc or the nurse? That's the key. So we haven't gotten to that point yet. Now, we did get funding to develop a mobile health laboratory at TATRC. That's important because we already have a full copy of the electronic medical record. The DoD electronic medical record resides in a work copy. So we took 1,000 patients, scrubbed it of all patient identifying information, and that's a thing that we use for research. I'm going to take that electronic health record access called our Common Development Environment, take our mobile health lab and figure out how I bring the two together. Because again, before I can do the analytics, Robert, I've got to have the electronic information from the medical record and the cell phone data all in one repository. And then I can evaluate it. So I haven't gotten to that point yet, but it's not for lack of thought, it's for lack of money. And again, the issue of connecting the mHealth to the EHR.
Right. And then you could customize the messages being sent out to soldiers, right?
Right, right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm Barry Lotion with Connexus. One of the hurdles that we've come across in terms of using cell phones in the home, especially the medical home even, and also in home care, is that the FDA has still not allowed the cell phone to be used. Its definition is it's considered a medical device. And I've been dealing with a lot of strategic partners. Many folks on the private sector side are holding off on making decisions in investment because the federal government, through the FCC, well, not just FCC, FDA, in terms of the agency that's responsible for the definition of a medical device, it's still not happened yet. It's in progress, but it's very, very slow. Yeah. You've had great success, at least in the time that you've spent, with the agencies and the DoD and so forth. Can you make any suggestions on, or do you have any advice for those folks who want to invest and want to move forward, but they're not ready to because of the potential liabilities from the standpoint of moving forward?
My recommendation would be we're staying away from that whole issue of sending biomedical tracings, all the kinds of things. There is an FDA-approved application from a company that has the maternal fetal monitoring, and sending that data through a cell phone onto any cell phone has been FDA approved.
Yeah, that took about 1.5 years to almost 2 years.
That's right. And I am staying away from that kind of application because I'm getting killed just by information assurance and in the DoD bureaucracy, that I'm doing these kinds of preclinical things first and building a culture of mobile health. And then I can be more forward-leaning in doing the kinds of things that FDA has that gray zone thinking about right now. I participated in that FCC meeting in July, August timeframe, as well as many of you as well. And so I don't get the sense FDA is being unreasonable in any of this. They want to make sure that the signal quality is strong, that you're not going to compromise the integrity of the information you're sending. And so I am not pessimistic about the FDA killing mobile health. I think it's going to take time. I'm not willing to invest in those high-risk applications. My strategy is to stay away from that, stay preclinical, work on the EMR interface, and then all these other guys, if they got money, time, and effort, and they want to deal with the FDA, great, knock yourselves out. I'll jump in when you figure it out. That's my strategy. I've been burned. Look at the diabetes project I told you about. The diabetes project I got killed on because we got into it too early. Why would we issue 2 cell phones? I already got my own cell phone. Now you're going to give me another one? And you want me to look at diabetes? That's not going to work. That's why the other project that we're doing, we use the soldier cell phone. Yes, question?
Justin Upp, University of Wisconsin School of Medicine. Are you finding that a lot of the young physicians coming out are receiving the kind of training from the medical schools that they need to start stepping into this kind of technology? Okay, what would you suggest to us to help prep the new doctors for things like this?
I've got a daughter who's a second-year medical student, and I can tell you they run circles around me in terms of the cell phone and the computer, and they're on Facebook. I mean, they're so much further ahead than me, technically, in digital information. In terms of how med schools, there are pockets of med schools where they're issuing, Stanford and others are issuing cell phones to their med students specifically to start thinking about this. We're still in the very early stages of mobile health. This is telemedicine 20 years ago, Jay. You know, and so until we get data and do all these studies and go through this kind of process, it may be another 10 years till we fully realize it, or maybe 5 years between the FDA and between educating young doctors. The young doctors get it. It's not a matter of them having a steep learning curve. It's a matter of having the policies. It's a matter of having a turnkey solution that takes you from an end-to-end solution between patient, that seamless integration into the electronic medical record, and then the healthcare team, the clinical business practices that will say, okay, doc shouldn't be getting that information. That should go to the nurse, or that should go to somebody else. Or, you know what, only the doc should see this because this is a very serious situation that we're in right now based on monitoring, for example. So I don't think the med student issue is a big one. I think the clinical business practice, the policy, the remuneration, I think that is what we need to work on. And we need data to show that. Yes, any other questions?
Actually, I think we're at time. So,
well, I'll be here most of the day, so I appreciate again the invitation, Jill, and thank you all for your great questions.
Much.